Oh, it's outstanding. It's very rare to see in the U.S. communities, like you said, to actually get into a formation and march right through the middle of town and just get to show your colors and show what it's about and allow people to provide their appreciation for it. And now, it's done at the local communities, but here at North Bay, it's absolutely unique to itself. I've never seen it like it, done to that degree. It was outstanding. We got to march through downtown North Bay. There was just a sea of red as we went through, and that's where I learned about the significance of the red shirts and showing an appreciation for the troops. People really came out for it. Even with the weather the way it was, I was just very pleased and proud to get to just be there and march through town and see that support. It was outstanding.
Certainly heightened having the ambassador here. Did you have an opportunity to talk to him about the significance of the role that the U.S. Air Force plays here?
I did. The main thing that we discussed was the fact that we've been here for 60 years. A lot of people don't know the fact that the United States Air Force here at CFB North Bay have been here in some way, shape, or form since 1952. And it was January 1952 when the first Americans showed up, and their role was to actually be instructor fighter pilots for the interceptor mission that was occurring at the time. We've had a surface-to-air missile program that was here with the Bomarks, and then we followed on with the development of NORAD, which we've been maintaining ever since. So for 60 years we've been here in one way, shape, or form. And it's just been, I'm sure it's going to be for the next 60 years, we're going to show just how strong that relationship truly is.
When you look at Armed Forces Day, having, as I said, the ambassador here, we had the Prime Minister here, we have two nations celebrating what they do best together. Mm-hmm. Does that message get carried back to the White House?
Absolutely. When I did speak to the ambassador, he does. That's one of his responsibilities that he had mentioned, is to just give the president a sense of what is going on in the country, and I have full faith in him that his visit today gave him an impression, and a very positive impression of how we work here on an integrated fashion. Though we marched as a USAF formation in the parade, and that was just to celebrate our 60 years so that people could see what the United States Air Force looked like in parade together. What you normally see in that parade is us in a very integrated fashion, where you see everybody working together, not side by side, but very much intermingled and intermixed throughout the entire organization. That's how we are 24/7, every day of the year.
What do your folks talk about when they leave that? Give me a sense. I know what the Canadian folks are saying. What do the American folks say after Armed Forces Day?
I think the thing that they enjoyed the most is the fact that they got to just show themselves and make themselves available to the community and just get a chance to just tell their unique story. Everyone brings something different up here, and everyone gets something uniquely different to themselves what they get out of North Bay. So it's just that chance to just get to talk to the community. As the honorary colonels have mentioned, the people of North Bay are also our soccer coaches, they're our neighbors, they're our landlords, and it's just a chance to get out there at the community and talk to basically their friends that they develop over the year.
And speaking of stories, this monument has some significance to North Bay and to yourself.
It is. UCLA 27. I was in that unit in 1995. That was actually my first time serving with the Canadians. And it is a bit difficult because when UCLA 27 crashed, I was there on that day to witness it. And it brought me a lot closer to the Canadians that were in that unit. And ever since then, if I had an opportunity to serve with the Canadians, I jumped on it at every opportunity. This is actually my third time serving with Canada in Canada, and so I'm very happy to be doing that. It's also an opportunity for me to always thank Canada for what they have done for us and for me to just pay back for the services. And in this case, a significant sacrifice that was also made.
Take me back to that day. What happened and what should the folks here know was, it was an important day, and why is that?
Well, UCLA 27, the main purpose of that mission was to provide for the air sovereignty. Canadian air defense sector here works often with the E-3s. As they provide this long-range reconnaissance, this long-range outlook on air surveillance, we work with them. This aircraft was going to be performing one of those missions. That's why it had Canadians on board, in order to provide for that expertise, that Canadian perspective on the mission. And so they were going to do a routine training mission on that day, but unfortunately on that day, the bird conditions were very severe, and the aircraft ingested several geese and the left motors. And because of that, the aircraft lost the thrust required to remain in the air, and unfortunately it crashed. On that day, I was outside of the unit and had to observe it. So the members of the crew were acquaintances or co-workers or friends of mine. And on the very first day that I showed here at North Bay, I noticed that the building was named after Sergeant David L. Pitcher. And it was then that I then tied it all together, because it had been a name I had not heard in a very long time, and that's when I noticed this memorial, and that really hit home for me, and I'm actually very happy to see it here.
It is something that we expect, but don't at the same token. You know, we expect that men and women are going to lose their lives in this performance of their duties, but when it happens, it's a completely different feeling.
It is. The only way to really move forward, for example, I ask myself every day, are the things that I'm doing in the service of my country going to bring honor to what these fine men and women have stood for? That's all. Only thing I can do is just take that and look at what they represented to me, what they were standing for, what they were trying to do, and try to carry that forward and just keep them in my mind.
And that brings forward the next 60 years for NORAD and the joint venture that Canada and the U.S. has?
Absolutely. We will continue in this integrated fashion. The relationship here is just as strong as ever. 60 years is a very long time. There's no base I can think of in Canada that has a lineage that long. It is a very long one, and there's no signs of that ever stopping.